Done. Right, so this will all record now, and then I'll send you. What I'll probably do is upload it to like a private link on YouTube because it'll be a large file to send you. So I'll just post it on that. Okay, look. So what we'll do first is I'll just run through a student profile. So this is again is a student who's had his profile from being 16 to 18. So if I click on my profile on the left-hand side, I can see that all the profile sections are here. Now, have you watched the What is Kloodle video by any chance?
No, I
Okay.
don't think I did watch that.
So that's basically the video that we first showed to students when they. It's like the video that we send to staff and for students as they first log into their profile. So it kind of gives them a nice introduction on the type of activities they can do on their profile, and it basically the video structures. Well, the video is structured in the same format as the profile tabs. So it'll go through what to do on their bio, what to do in their education, how to record their employment achievements and blogs and so on. Now, if I was to click on any one of these links, so the Shaban's already populated content on each of these sections, but before students have done, there's a help section and there's sort of a tutorial and a guide that will sort of help students work towards what makes a good bio or what to sort of include in their main achievements and things like that. And all those support tutorials can be found in this help section. So if they click on help, it'll give them example students to look at, so you can click on a example BTEC student and look at that type of bio, or if they want to go delve a bit deeper, they can click on need more help, and then there's a tutorial that will take them through what makes a good bio, what to include, what to start with, what to avoid, good examples of things, and there's a tutorial like this on each one of the sections on a student profile. The other element of support, as well as the teaching resources that we give to members of staff, is this intercom service here. So students can 24/7 ask us questions, ask the help desk what to include in their profile or how to upload something, or any sort of question they might have, whether it's regarding employability or whether it's just regarding a function on the site. So if they click on the intercom button here, they can ask a question to Kloodle, or they can complete a survey that we've asked them to do, and that will go straight to a member of the help desk, and then someone will pretty much instantly reply as long as it's during sort of a college day. If it's a night, it might take maybe half an hour or an hour to reply, but generally speaking, we're pretty prompt with that. So next section is is education. So students can obviously log grades, and then employment. So this is where they can log any sort of part-time work, any full-time work that they're doing in between courses, and keep a record of that. After that is achievement. So I think we've limited this to their top 3 achievements. So they have to think quite carefully as to what those achievements might be. And obviously over time, something might trump another thing. This is one of the interesting sections actually for members of staff, the feedback that we've had anyway, in that students have put a whole real range of activities for their main achievements. So some have put certificates that they've been given at high school, some have put awards, or whether they've been the prefect or head boy, head girl, that sort of stuff. Or some students have even put things like that they look after their gran at home, that their gran's making care, and things like that. So there's a whole range of characteristics that will build out and tell a story about that student and sort of demonstrate different personality traits as well as employability skills. And then after that, you've got all your dynamic content. So blogs, photos, videos. Again, students can upload that through the app very easily. So whilst they're on, if they're on work experience, they can upload things as and when and then tag the skills. Now, if we go back to the timeline, this is how students can record or upload work to their profile. So they can either upload a blog, a photo, a video, or a document. And whenever they upload a piece of content, the next call to action is always, well, what skill is this? So they have to tag a particular employability skill relating to the activity that they've been doing. So if I was to do an example blog now, I'd give it a title. So I'd talk about what I've been doing that day or what activity I've been asked to do, either in class or whether off my own bat. Talk about the learning or the activity itself. And then the key button that students need to press is this Add Skills button. So if they click Add Skills, they can then tag the relevant employability skill that that's representative of. So whether it's a good example of teamwork or time management or creativity and so on. And then that creates a link back to the evidence on their profile. So, or they can create their own skill if they wanted to. So if they're doing something very specific to their course, whether it's we've had quite a lot of examples of people doing like hair and beauty courses where they want to just tag a particular hairstyle, so that that's an evidence link back to all those photos that they've published onto their profile. They can do that as well. Once they're happy with it, click publish, and then that evidence link will be back on their profile. Now, if I skip a few sections and go to their skills and progression tag, it gives me an overview of where that students have been recording evidence. So I can see that he's tagged 5 examples of teamwork, for instance, 3 for written communication, 2 for commercial awareness, and so on. And if I was to click on any one of these links, it will take me to the examples that student has demonstrated that's shown. So he's written 1 blog about his Lambda exams, and then he's uploaded a series of photos that you can view on. And then you can see he's tagged teamwork, flexibility, professional behaviours for some of these pieces of evidence. And that's how that works. Let's go back to his profile. Again, photos, videos and documents all work the same. They can record their personal statement if they want to, or they can record a series of drafts so that the teacher can log in and see the drafts, offer feedback without having any piece of paper. And now the badges is probably one of the more interesting sections. So the badges is where a lot of teacher-led exercises occur. So we've created a scheme of work, and you'd see that in the trial brochure. So for instance, in the trial brochure, there's 2 to 3 weeks worth of activities where students are asked to complete an activity and then go away and earn the badge to evidence that they've done that activity in the classroom or out of the classroom, whatever the brief is given by the teacher. And then once they've clicked on a badge, they can then add work to it, submit it as evidence. That evidence gets marked by us, and then we'll give feedback to the student. We'll either award the badge if it matches the criteria, or we will give feedback to the student as to what they need to do to then earn the badge in the future. I'll do some more on badges in a moment, but I'll stay on the student's profile just for the time being. So next section is work experience. Again, that works as a badge. So if we click on work experience, it's essentially like a folder of work. So they can add all the employer information, and which gets recorded, and then obviously the college gets a copy of all the employment information where students are travelling to, where they're working, and then it also gives them an idea of how to record their work experience in a series of blogs, photos, videos. And once they're happy with it, once they click add work, let's take away the employment. Once they add work, they can add a blog, photo, video, and document to evidence the activities that they've been doing on work experience. Once they're happy with it, there's a button that would say submit instead of pending review. So once they've clicked submit, that then goes away to us, and then once we've reviewed people's badges, then we'll award the badge if it's worthy. Now, as a school or college, you can also create your own badges, or you can edit the badges that exist on Kloodle. So you're not stuck to the ones that we've pre-created. If you want to edit them, change them, remove them, you can do all that. And if you want to add future event badges throughout the year, then you can do that again. And then we won't touch those, we won't mark those, we won't get involved. That's just up to the college. And if you want to do that, that's great. There's a My Futures section as well for students. So one of the classroom activities we do is we try and get students to write down periodically over time. So there'll be that 3 points in the year, maybe when they sit down, and then fill in this section. So what's their goal aspiration? And they'll do it again and see if that's changed. What are the requirements to do that? What's the next action? Destination pathway. So all this gets recorded, and then you've got that data in your college analytics to show that where the students are intending to go versus where they may end up and stuff like that. That's probably it from the student perspective. I'll show you how it works from submitting a badge, although it's quite straightforward. So if there's teachers guided them towards a particular skill badge in one of the lesson activities, it could be Creativity Skill Week, it could be Initiative Self-Motivation. Let's go to one he hasn't done yet. So Numeracy Skill Week. So if Shaban has been instructed by his teacher to look at this badge, then he would click on the badge itself. What you need to do, also he's already activated that because he can say submit, doesn't it? But it gives him instruction on what is needed to do as part of the activity that week. He can add work as evidence in the form of blogs, photos, videos or documents, and then when he's happy with it, he would click submit. Let's go back to one that he won't have activated yet, just so you can see. There we go. So he's not activated this badge, so this badge won't appear on Shaban's profile at all until he clicks activate, or he can find out more about it. But we won't do that just yet. And then the other section that I've not touched on yet is what we call employer badges. So for every region, what we try and do is get employers, local employers, national employers, to sponsor badges that would be specifically for that college. So at this test college, for instance, we've got JD Sports badge. So we get local employers or national employers to create badges that identify certain skills or characteristics or traits that they're looking for in their future workforce, or it may be to get a summer job, or it may be to get a work placement, or it may be to get work experience. It can be up to the employer. The employer can stipulate to us what they want of that student, so they'll essentially create a task, and then students can activate it, submit evidence to prove that they've done the work that's been in the brief, and then we will mark the work and we'll award the student a badge that will then get published on their profile. The employer will then get a copy of the students who've completed their badge, and they may want to offer those students work experience placements or summer jobs, or just some part-time roles, or they might just want to keep them, keep them noted that those students have earned their badges. So the employers have no way of contacting the students. I wanted to sort of make that clear. They can just get a list of students who've earned their badge, but they don't get the names and they don't get the contact details. They would have to specifically request that from us, when we would have to specifically request it from the student for them to be shared across, obviously through new safeguarding and data protection acts that have sort of come into play this year. They just get an indication of how many students have clicked on their badge and how many students have earned it. Okay, so that's from a student perspective. Any questions before I move on to the college?
No, what's the opportunities tab again? Sorry.
So that can be opportunities that are posted by the college. So if you've got a careers team that wants to post opportunities, it may be internal opportunities. It could be to be head girl, prefect. It could be to get involved with charity work. It could be to get involved in enrichment. You can post those as badges, and then students will have them available in this section here, and they can click on them, and then the teacher or whoever's in the careers department will get a list of students who are then interested in that opportunity and can then take it forward with those students. Same applies for events. So you might want to create an event. So it could be a work-related event, it could be a talk, it could be you've invited a company in to do a talk, and you can create that event, and then that would be available for students to click on, activate. The teacher would get a list of all the students who've activated that badge who are then intending to come, and then if the students do come and then they do sit through the talk and they do engage with it, then the teacher can just go through the list of students and award the badge to all those students who've been present. So it's sort of like a marker that the students did take part in that. You can also attach hours to badges, which then goes into the college statistics. So you can say that X amount of students in this class have sat through 3 hours of employee engagement in terms of talks that have come into the college, that sort of stuff. That's how that works. Right, let me go to a college. So it looks very similar for a college. This is now, I'm logged in as the test college that Siobhan's at. The only difference being on the left-hand side now, there's a few more options. So we can see there's an admin section, there's an analytics section, there's a communication centre. So if you want to get messages to groups of students or individual students, you can do it that way. Search for students or groups or tags. There's an analytics section, so you can see how many students are registered to the whole college. You can drill down into different classes and different groups if you wanted to, and then get the analytics for just that group. Or you can see as an overall how many students have been earning different badges, how many people have recorded bios, education sections, employment sections, achievements, and then the Kloodle skill badges, so how many students have taken part in the Skills Week's activities. And then this is obviously the test site, so you can have the 10 best profiles depending on the tag you select as well. And then this is normally a pie chart that indicates where the skills have been tagged, but obviously this is a test account, so it doesn't show up. And then you can see the hours that students have recorded on work experience, enrichment, volunteering. So you get an idea of how that works. To search for your students, you go to admin. And then what happens is when a college takes out a Kloodle account, they basically give us a spreadsheet of which classes the students are all in. So we'll pre-populate all the classes, and they're called tags. So we'll create as many tags as necessary for each individual student. So they might be in the maths, English, sociology class, as well as being level 2, level 3. So there'll be a series of tags associated to every student, and that's how you can filter students by. So you can either search for them by name, or you can search for them by tag. You can create new tags all the time as well if you wanted to. Search for them by year of registration, so obviously you can see when students leave and they keep their profile for free afterwards, you can then find your alumni and see the destination data and find employment statuses and things like that, so you can view in previous years. Or you can see which students have earned different badges or which students have completed their bio, for instance, and then they all appear then. there is reports that will automatically download on a daily basis. So every day there'll be a report across the whole college that gets downloaded, and there'll be a tag report and a badge report as well that you can access. Now then, let me go to the badge stats. So these are the badges. These are examples of different badges that you may have in the college. So, for instance, if I wanted to find out, so there's 9 students who've been awarded that badge, 2 students, and there's 13 eligible, and 2 students waiting for it. So I can click on the bio badge, and this is what we tend to do, unless the college wants to do it themselves. So we'll go through the students, see who's pending for the bio badge, check on the evidence. If they've uploaded it, it's probably just on the bio on their profile, and then we can award the badge if it's good. If we mark it as incomplete, we then send an email to that student to say why it's incomplete and why we've marked it that, and what they need to do to get it up to scratch. Let's go back home. I'll go to admin. Sorry. If I go back to badges, when I mentioned before about how you can create your own badges or create your own events, this is how. This is loads. There we go. So on the right hand side of the badges section, there's a button that says create badge. So if I click on create badge, then this is what you can create your very own badge, or any member of staff can do this. So it could be a task for a particular group of students, or it could be a badge that's available for the entire college, or it could be an event that you want to create to hype up, for instance. So you might want to test event. Describe what happens in the event. So this will be the description on the badge when people look at people's badges. See the badge type. So is it going to be a work experience badge, volunteer and enrichment? It's an event badge. And then we can choose the icon. Let's have employability sort of talk. I don't know, employee engagement badge. And then you can stipulate how many hours are attached to that badge. So it could just be a 1 hour activity. And then you can set the deadline. So it's on Friday. And then click submit. And that test event is now available for students. So if we go back to Shaban, go to badge, go to events, sorry. Then that employer test event will be in his events. He can then activate that and then start to either work to it, or the teacher can then mark them all present and then award the badge to all the students who were there at the event. Go back to the college. The teaching resources can all be found on the admin section as well. So if we click on admin and then on resources, this is where all the teaching resources are. So we've built a calendar with a scheme of work as to how you can sort of embed an employability platform within a curriculum. So you can click on that, which is handily upside down, well, horizontal. This is all in a starter pack booklet that we can hand out to all staff as well, so it's easier to sort of digest that way. And then there's a checklist for each month, and then we've got lesson plans that would happen once a month as well. So there'd be one lesson around social media. There's a worksheet for students who don't have access to a computer, and then, for instance, there's also tutorials that teachers can watch online, which guides them as to how to access the information and what to do. So an example lesson plan, let's just go to skills audit. Let's just make that a bit smaller. So you can see the lesson plan, how the activities are sort of divided up, and then there'd be a specific badge that once the students have done the activities, they would be guided towards to activating the skills audit badge and then uploading evidence based on the activity that the teachers asked them to do, and then we'll assess that within a week. So any students that submit a badge, we say that we'll assess and we'll award or give feedback within 1 week, and then students will have that displayed on their profile. And yes, that's how that works. And let's just go back to an example of the worksheets as well. So if there's if students don't have access to a computer, or they can't access it on the phone, for instance, they can complete everything in the activity on a worksheet as well. So sort of all bases are covered. It's not zooming out, never mind. You get the idea. And I can give you, in the trial brochure that I'll send you after this, there's a couple of examples of the lesson plans and a couple of examples of the worksheets that you can have a look at.
Are they sort of targeting school-age students, the activities?
But
Or
the more
16
16 to 18, but we do have high school based activities as well. We've got a range of students. We've got some schools that use it in year 7, and we've got some schools that use it in just year 10, 11, but the most of our users are 16 to 18. For the school users, it just seems to be that they'll focus on things like the bio achievements and my future section, and they won't touch the badges till they'll get higher up the school and stuff. And it's just a case of, essentially, it's just a digital record of achievement for those students as opposed to an employability profile. And then the further up the school and college they go, the more the employability lessons come into play, the more the badges come into play, the more the employer badges become relevant to those students. I'm just wondering if there's anything else that's worth demonstrating. Probably not, actually. Yeah, so this is, I mean, all students can be, there's, we collect data on everything that students do. So we'll have data on how many hours they're collating for work experience, for enrichment, for volunteering. We'll collect data on the skills that students are uploading over time, so you can see progression over a period of time as to how they're, after you've done a skills week or after you've done a careers week or after they've gone on work experience, you can see the uplift in skills that are being evidenced and developed, so you can sort of see the value add different activities are sort of representative of for different student groups. And you can monitor sort of the effectiveness from different groups across the college as well by the tag. So if you were to select a different tag, you'd be able to see which badges have been earned in that class as opposed to other classes and things like that, or the year. So that's how the tags work.
How do you generate the tags?
You can create your own tags, or we generally get the colleges to set the tags up at the start of the year. So they're basically
like tutor groups.
Tutor groups, class, the subjects they're studying, and then what level the students are at. You can create your own though. So if I go to tags now, these are the different tags of this test college, for instance, and you can download the data for that tag, or you can create your own. So if you want to create a new tag and add students to it, it could be an enrichment tag, or it could be the volunteering group, or it could be the an RE group. It could be anything, and you can then add students to that tag, and then that would then display in the analytics when you select that tag. So you've got complete control over that. But we tend to try and set it all up at the start of the year just so there's less for teachers to do. But teachers can add tags as and when they need to.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Like I say, if you've got any questions after this, then you can either email me directly, or if you just go to Kloodle.com, even before you've logged in, there'll be a little intercom button there that you can use. So if there's any questions across the site, if it's helpful after this, I'll send you the trial brochure so you can have a look through a couple of examples of the teaching resources.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then obviously you've got the test account already, haven't you? So you've got the ability to add students to that if you wanted to. Or if you wanted to send us a list of students that you wanted to pilot for free for a couple of weeks, then you could do that.
Try out myself in the first place. So I was
Absolutely
trying
fine, yeah.
from the college perspective, what it would look like, and also from a student perspective.
Yep.
So I started filling some things in and then trying to track it from the college side.
Yeah, but I bet the analytics probably wasn't displaying properly because
they weren't.
Yeah, in Edge, I think there was an error in that. So hopefully that's fixed. It should be. We have tested it, so but it always works fine in Chrome. So if you go back to using it in Chrome, you should see it displaying properly.
Is it possible to add extra information? So, for example, the students are filling in information in about their work placements.
Yep.
Is it possible to add extra questions on there that they fill in?
If you let us know, absolutely. So if they go on record experiences, if you wanted, so they can obviously record enrichment, work experience, volunteering, or paid work, or book onto an event. If you wanted for us to create a template for them to fill in, then just let us know and we can display that on your page. So if they're doing work experience now, they just activate the work experience folder, and they would add work in the form of blogs, photos, videos, and documents. And then the evidence is here, and then teachers can click on the evidence.
Yeah.
and then and that's. But if you want us to create a template in any one of these sections, just let us know. If it's easy to do, we'll do it.
Okay. Um, in what way could we download like a spreadsheet of all the information, like
Yeah.
as one work
So
experience?
let's go to. Sorry.
So if we wanted
Button.
a list of all the work experience information that was on there.
Yep. Absolutely. So if you go to the admin section and go to view reports, I'm not sure if it's going to do this with it being the test college, but I'll give it a whirl. And download report. No, see, it's not going to work on that. If we go to, if you select the employment status, is it? I think. Oh no, the badges, isn't it? So you go to badges, and it'd be like the work experience badge, for instance.
Yeah.
And then all the students who've started the work experience badge would appear in the search. And if you click download data,
So how would that look?
then that will then compile a report overnight that's then ready for you tomorrow. Generally, the reports, I wonder if the tag report works. Download link file. The reports always look like this. No, it's not doing it, is it? I didn't mean to do that. I'm just going to go to my messy desktop now, so you have to excuse me. If I do it Safari. Oh no, because that's why it's in Safari, isn't it? Log out. I'll log in. This is how the reports always look. So there'll be the student, whether they've completed their bio, education, how many hours of work experience, how many blogs, how many, all that sort of stuff. And then there'll be, you can create, so every time you create a report, it will have whatever's in the admin section. So if you wanted to have the work experience badges, then it would download all the information associated to that. So we can compile all the information. We'll give you a list of where all the students are on work experience. It will give you a list of where all the students have done volunteering. It'll give you a list of where all the students have done enrichment. The type of information that you will be able to, the type of data that you'll be able to pull is highlighted in this example Ofsted report that we did for a couple of our colleges recently. So you can obviously see the number of skills tagged over a period of time for a particular college or particular group, the student progression over a particular period of time, so which badges students have activated compared to how many students have actually been awarded, events that have been attended that the college has put on themselves, some stats on some headline stats, total work experience hours. So over different campuses, you can see which work experience hours, paid work hours, enrichment hours, completed badges, volunteering and evidence, and then the best performing areas of the tags, so you can see which groups of the college, and then you can get a list of where all the students are on work experience. So that's just the A's at one of the colleges. So that will be in a similar spreadsheet to that.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be good.
I'll show. I wonder if the badge report would download. Oh no, I'm doing it in Safari again. Yeah, so there you go. So you can see the different areas of work experience, what type of badge it is. So then you can just mess about with it. You can sort of filter it by the columns in the spreadsheet then. So it'll give you where the students have marked their work experience or paid work, things like that, which badges they've achieved, volunteering.
Okay, that looks good.
And a tag report, what does that look like? Yeah, so this is then the report on how many badges per year, all the different groups. So all the tags that you create, you'll then get a summary of which badges or how many hours of work experience, for instance, different sections of the college, how they're
So for
performing.
us, that could be, like I said, different tutor groups.
Tutor groups or
numbers.
teaching groups or anything like that. Yeah, so you can then see how they're sort of performing against one another.
Okay, good.
Brilliant, and that's probably it. And when I say it, there's a lot of information I probably delivered there, so I won't blame you if you've forgotten something. But obviously we've recorded that, so that's quite useful. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what the next steps are. Whether you just want to go away and have another play about with it, and then maybe come back to us to see if it's something that you're interested in later on.
I think I need to just meet with the right people
Okay.
internally and see what's possible, because obviously there's a cost implication.
Yeah, so the cost is £3 per student per year. So there's no setup cost. We'll deliver staff training for free as well. So that's the only cost, £3 per student per year, and there's no limit on. There's no minimum requirement in terms of student numbers.
And you said you could send me through a brochure or a booklet.
Yeah, I've got a proposal
with
booklet
examples.
that we send out to colleges who look like they're going ahead. So in that proposal booklet, it's kind of all the information that you'd want to see or you'd want to talk about with senior leadership. So I'll send you that. Obviously, there's no obligation to go ahead with that, but I will send you a proposal booklet because that sort of that has the information that you would need.
Yeah. Okay.
Super.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Yeah, if I've got any questions, I can always just give you a call.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. Please do. Okay, then I'll leave you to the rest of your day, and I'll send. So after this, I'll send the trial brochure, and I'll send you a blank proposal document that you can have a look at and share with colleagues, and then just get in touch as and when.
Okay.
Super.
Great. Thanks for that, Andy.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for your time.
Right. Cheers.
What's up? Bye now.
Bye.